sitting here with Thomas, and say your last name.
Rebentisch. Thomas Rebentisch.
Rebentisch. Cool. And so tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I'm a Nevada native.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that.
I'm third generation. My kids are fourth generation, so we've been here since the booming of Vegas.
You've seen the changes.
Yeah.
Like the growth.
My grandma's 96. She's still alive, kicking, still gets out every Friday night and gambles. She's got amazing stories.
Where's she going now that everything's kind of shut down? What's her favorite place? What was her favorite place and now what's her favorite?
Sunset Station is her go-to.
Okay. What was it before? It still is?
Always.
Okay.
Yeah.
That means I need to go there.
Yeah. She wins constantly.
I need to go.
Yeah.
With her.
That's the thing. She's 96 and goes out and she'll stay out till 3 in the morning. You have to keep up with her.
How does she eat? Is she healthy?
No, she eats horrible.
That's crazy, right?
But anyway, enough about my grandma. Anyway, Las Vegas local. Born and raised here.
We're just talking about kids.
Got 3 kids, married. Majority of my family lives here, so we're pretty close.
Did you say all 3 were girls?
Yeah, all 3 of my kids are girls. That's fun.
And how old are you?
What am I? 31. I'll be 32 next month.
You look younger than that, but that's still pretty young for 3 kids.
No, I feel like I could use some work around my eyes and forehead, but I'll take the
Welcome
compliment.
to the club, man. I had a client the other day. I mean, if you don't mind me just sharing a little bit.
Yeah.
I had a client the other day, and what were we talking about? Oh, she was just talking about, she's always had a problem with her skin, did the whole Accutane thing and all this stuff. She goes, by the way, you have great skin. I was like, really? Are you serious? Like, I'm asking Ark all the time. It's like, babe, can you see these wrinkles? Like, can you tell them? Like, Cool. So you got 3 kids, married. Nice. How did you come here?
I've been
here as in like, the gym, SHT and all that.
So like I've been in and out of doing fitness and nutrition personally I was pretty active as a kid. I wanted to find, a good, healthy outlet as an adult to do. Mm-hmm. And I did action sports quite a bit growing up. I played soccer for the majority of my childhood growing up all the way through high school. Got into action sports.
Which is what, skating?
Snowboarding, BMX, motocross, nice. You name it. But I didn't want to go back to that because I'm tired of hitting the ground, and it doesn't hurt any less the more you do it.
I know, it actually gets worse. Right?
Yeah, and you knock out easier too. I found that out. The more and more that happens. So about six years ago, I really started kind of right before my first kid came. I was doing a lot of desert motocross riding, and having issues with arm pump, with having lactic acid buildup in my forearms, with being able to last on the bike for hours instead of doing 20 minutes there, 20 minutes off. So really dove into it. Kind of did my own thing in that sport. A lot of the training there's a lot of cardio cycling majority, and so
to build endurance.
Yeah. So you got to be able to hold on to a 250, 260 pound bike. And I was doing it up to 2 hours, so that's when I initially got into it, got on and off the wagon past a few years, and then, June 2020, got back in the gym, started eating okay. Then right around the first of the year, I was like, you know what, I really need to get a good program. I need something that my fitness is laid out for me, someone else is doing it instead of myself, because obviously what I'm doing isn't working, and I need to get my what I'm putting into my body dialed in.
So the best way to do both, literally to show up and just not have to worry about what to do.
Yeah.
That's what I love about coming here too.
Yeah. So showed up, went through everything with the coaches, got started, loved it. It's definitely not boring. Started your program. I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I may not agree with all of this stuff, but I'm just going to do it. It's the program. Let's go.
Not boring either.
Yeah, not boring either. I eat like a king. I can't complain. I eat really good. but yeah, that's how I kind of ended up here.
Cool. And then we were talking a little bit earlier, like you had some major things that happened throughout your life that kind of shifted the direction of your life. And one of them you had said was that your dad had got injured when you were really young.
Yeah.
Like how old were you?
I was 11 years old. So.
And what happened?
He had a incident at work. Got hurt. His disc between his L3 and L4 vertebrae exploded, and then the two on either side were hemorrhaging. He had a piece of equipment fall on him, put his knees and hands up to stop it, and stopped it from crushing him, but it did some damage in the process. Oh, no. So that was a.
Why was that a pivotal moment?
What happened? What changed?
Was
a, it went from having, kind of a traditional family situation where, dad was the breadwinner and, mom was doing stuff with kids, maybe working part-time, that kind of thing, to, he was very physically unable to do quite a bit. Mom had to go back to work, and I was kind of like forced to grow up real quick. And so, I look back at it, and I think you think as a kid there, like, don't get me wrong, it was hard, but look at it now, and as challenges come at us through life, you have those hard, pivotal moments where it kind of builds you. And so that was kind of my foundation of like, all right, it's time to suck it up. Like, it's going to be hard, but we're able to get through it. You have people around you to help you. Yeah. And so that's kind of when that started.
I mean, looking back, I know it's easy to say, that these are some things that shaped us positively, but I'm sure at the time it was like, it was difficult. It was a crash to your world. Yeah. It's like, okay, the security that I thought and the rigidity and the certainty. Yeah. Now it's like, and you'd said before too that you feel like you're very adaptive, and that's probably a big reason for it. So, so then after that, you'd said that. Do you mind sharing, like, you said around 22, something coming out of high school?
Right after high school, I think it was 3 days after my 19th birthday, I got in trouble with police with a misdemeanor drug charge and everything else that went with it. And so at 19, it was, I found myself in a courtroom staring at a judge telling me, like, bring back a good attorney else you're serving time. And that was like, oh, okay, I need to make some changes. So I moved across the country, kind of got out of my group of friends that, I look back at it now and I look at it and
moved across the country from here somewhere else?
Yeah, so okay. I left Vegas and went to Florida.
Okay.
And my brother had a job opportunity. He was like, hey man, like, you need a change because like you're living life pretty fast as a 19-year-old. I had my inner group of people was we were either going through the criminal justice system, in jail, or just got out. So it was like, okay, you're 19, this is the way you're going. It's time to maybe slow it down and roll it back.
And you said your brother was the one that...
Yeah, so my brother's like
he was a positive
he's
influence?
Like, hey, he's like, I'm doing this, he's like, there's a sales position I'm taking that's across the country, like I need someone to help me. If you want to change, and I think you do, you're more than welcome to come. And so we both moved to Florida, moved down to Orlando.
Who's we both?
So my brother and his at-time wife. So it was those two and myself, and I lived with them. So, and it was my first time living anywhere away from home and in a place I didn't know that had trees and water.
Compared to Vegas.
Yeah, and water. So,
how'd you like it?
You know what? Florida's a great place to visit. I think that's the nicest way to put it.
What's your least favorite thing about it then?
The humidity is horrible.
Okay, we're so on the same page because Southeast, man, it's like, yeah, sure. I went to high school in Mississippi.
Yeah.
Fine, I'll visit here and there, but mosquitoes and humidity, I can't stand it.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I've been to Texas a couple times, and motorcycle industry has taken me to Texas, and went to some riding schools out there and some racing schools out there, and it's like completely different conditions than what I'm used to, and the amount of water that I had to constantly put down, and I'm just like, oh, I'm not peeing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just sweating it all out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because you're consuming so much, you're like, how the heck is this possible?
yeah.
So I had that event with your dad, you know, at an early age, just kind of, I feel like is what made you flexible, adaptive.
Yeah.
You know, things were uncertain to some degree, a little bit of a wake-up call around the 19 to 22 year age. And then what was your next big event?
Maybe that was even 21 or 22, up snowboarding, have an amazing day.
In Florida?
No, here. So Florida didn't last long. It lasted about 9 months, and I was out. Drove across the country. That was a really fun experience by itself. But no, I got back here, started working with a friend to have a job. It snowed really good one night. And I was, maybe we should go snowboarding tomorrow. Skip out on work. Like, call your dad. We worked for his dad. Like, call your dad, see if he needs us. If he doesn't, like, let's go. So we ended up going snowboarding. Did a couple runs, found a jump we were doing. Then he was like, hey, let me film this. So now it's like, cameras out. Let's go. Let's do this big. And ended up doing that run and blew out my left knee. And so then it was like, that kind of work was physically demanding that we were doing.
Oh, wow.
And so now I was stuck in a bed at home, and they had me on steroids and painkillers, all that. And I'm like, oh man, kind of like getting to that point of life where like I really need to consider like doing something. Like, I guess you could say I started, my 20s and my teens, and did that really early on, really fast, for a good amount of time. And so when I finally got to, I guess, the age you could say you're supposed to be doing that at, I had kind of collected all the t-shirts already. And so
You grew up fast.
I grew up fast. I was, and so I was like, I'm going to do something with this. And so I had initially gone to school in Phoenix for motorcycle mechanics. So I got some factory certs with 3 different manufacturers. There's a passion there. I always loved it. And so at the time, I think that was 2000. We were coming out of that recession, that crash. And so that was like 2010, 2011. And got into a motorcycle dealer, crutches and all. And I was like, hey man, let me sell bikes. If I can't work on them, like, let me sell bikes. And so I stood on crutches all day and tried to sell motorcycles. And kind of worked my way up, and went into different departments. Then I ended up being a manager, running a dealership. Left the dealership aspect, went into the wholesale side of things, became a traveling sales rep for a distribution company, supplying all the dealers with you name it. And eventually got out of that into the industry I'm in now, continuing in sales, and here I am.
That actually sounds really great.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy that part of it? Like, once you decided to like get into the sales and working your way up?
So like it was weird because I, looking back and seeing, I've been in sales for 10 years now, and there's not really like, you don't go to school for sales. It's something you learn, and that's
the truth.
It's
right?
not easy, and it's not for everyone.
Oh my God.
There's so much. I love all of the like salesperson memes and pages out there on Instagram and social media, because it's such relatable, funny content of learning how to be a salesperson. And it is just like, I don't know if I just love the abuse or being told no or being hung up on or having doors slammed in my face, but it's just like, okay, on to the next one. And so once you get past that, man, it's awesome, man. I love it.
It's character building too, and we were talking about it earlier. Like you said, some of your you were bringing up some books, and it just gave me flashbacks, like Brian Tracy and
Zig Ziglar.
Yeah,
old school.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
How many corporate companies have been sales programs built off Zig Ziglar?
Yeah. I mean, because I did insurance sales for years and hated it, and yet it's made me have this ability to like do talks and marketing and come up with my own materials and all this stuff. So I'm very thankful for that experience. But,
and I think the the one thing that I've loved about it is being able to get to know people. Because I mean, you know as much as I do that you can have the crappiest product out there, but if they like you, they'll buy it from you. Yeah. And it's all about relationships. And so being able to, back then when I started, sit down and spend like 3 hours with a random stranger. And like, instead of staring at each other and not saying a word, you're just like, all right, we got to talk about something. Getting to know random strangers. And then by the time you're done, they're like, we want you to be our next grandkid. We're going to invite you over for dinner. I'm just like, like, you don't have to do this, but
I get that from
super
you too.
cool.
You're easy to talk to, and
I'll talk your ear off if you let me.
No, there's something special about it. It's very genuine. Yeah. But you're right, and then I'm learning so much, like even just in these past few years about just interacting with people. I'm kind of like you. If I hear you right, it's almost like you cherish that ability to just sit and be with someone and get to know them. Even if it's someone you never met, especially if it's someone you never met before. So, and then you said that, when did you have your first kid?
I had my first kid 2015, August of 2015.
So that was how old are you? How old were you? 25 or something like that?
What is she? Was he 25, 26? Something like that, yeah.
And then you got girls, right?
Yeah, I got 3 girls. So I had the first one in 2015, summer of 2015, summer of 2017, and then summer of 2019. So they're all 2 years. So we got a busy household.
Yeah. So you gleaning back on all those kind of pivotal points, you had your dad's injury, your situation 19, 20 area, and then your children. When did you meet your wife?
So I met my wife actually shortly after I blew my knee out. Okay. I met her on crutches.
So that's around that 22 age.
Yeah. So she's
in the sales store.
She'll forgive me for saying this, but she's 8 years older than me, and so I had it was one of those things. It was like I was either going to get set up on a blind date or I was just going to ask this chick out, and so I asked her out, crutches and all. She knew I was young, but she didn't know that young. She tried getting out of our first date, and I didn't let her. And especially because I knew she's like, man, I'm going to go on this date with this guy on his crutches, like his knee's blown out. And we joke about it to this day. She's like, how did you get through that date? And I was like, I chewed up 3 lower times and put my crutches in the car and just sucked it up. Not that I'm dancing or anything. Yeah, not that I'm condoning that, but that was me adapting to my situation of like, okay, like somehow I'm going to have to suck up this pain with this swollen knee that I'm not supposed to be walking on. And we did it. But anyway, went amazing. We hit it off like crazy. We kind of, same thing. She had years of living fast, me as well. So we had lots of comparable experiences and things, and got married. We've been married June 2012. So we coming up 9 years this year. So 9 years and 3 kids. So
that's crazy. Yeah, crazy. So all those experiences, what would you say is like the greatest skills that you've learned? Because it's life. You had to grow up early.
Yeah, had to grow up fast. Kind of accept the fact that life is hard. There's great and joyous moments and things that we can cherish and value, and some of those things do come from the hard, the struggles, the battles. That I would say one thing, I was taught growing up was hard work and how to work hard. Like I watched my friends play on Saturdays while I was out mowing lawns and shoveling whatever, going to do whatever job. And so hard work was instilled in me at a young age. And so that was something I used to my advantage. Like I'll take the abuse. I'll take the grind and the grunt. Which I think is good in all aspects, whether it's our personal life, our work life, whatever it is.
So challenges, life is challenging, but out of those challenges, a lot of our greatest evolution can come, and then having a really good work ethic is super useful.
Yeah. So it's I I've been a manager multiple times, and I would rather take someone that has the work ethic that I can train versus someone that doesn't have the work ethic.
That already has a bunch of knowledge.
That already has a bunch of knowledge, because...
Yeah, so what do you mean by work ethic? Because me and my girl talk about this a lot. It's like, have you read The Go-Giver?
No,
Sure.
I've heard of it.
You got
but,
you'd love it. But, so what do you mean by work ethic?
So you have a lot of people that I feel get very discouraged by not even necessarily failure, but challenge. When they get challenged with something, whether it be a skill or a task or something that they do, some people get tons of anxiety about it, and it just like cripples them. They're like, I can't do this. And being able to challenge yourself and being able to work towards that goal and especially being able to be humble enough to learn something you don't know.
Yeah, open-minded.
Yeah, open-minded. And so...
Wanting to learn.
Yeah,
like
wanting.
Seeking that,
So, there's the work ethic, I learned to be able to do the grunt work and, the shit work, if you call it, and multiple times in life, and learn to understand that the fact of you're going to have to do this. And I accepted it very early on.
Sometimes you have to do things that you don't necessarily want to do because it has to be done.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
For sure. And so doing all these things, getting over the challenges, the being able to accomplish things that you set out to do, time management was a huge one I had to learn. That is part of my work ethic, Well,
you have to when you're in sales because you're not making money if you don't.
Yeah. So time management, being able to be like, hey man, I love our conversation, but I gotta go, and being able to adapt to those changes. There's so many times I dealt with the last company I would get. I mean, we were importing stuff from all over the world, from China, from Japan, from South Korea, from Germany, from Italy, you name it. And so it was one of those things I had to learn myself of look, there's so many things that can go wrong out there. You start dealing in containers of product and things coming in from out of the country, constant market changes, economy things. Look at this last year. Everybody had to adapt to the situation that we got put in, and none of us wished upon it. So being able to accept those challenges and continue to move forward and implement the things that you have learned, things that would stress me out and make my hair fall out 5 years ago, I look back and laugh at, and I'm just like, there's no reason to, I guess you could say I became able to accept the unpredictable. As much as I tried to predict things, none of us have crystal balls. That instead of letting the unpredictable things and events happen, that I just accepted them. I'm like, okay, well, we just got to pivot and change the way we do it now.
Yeah.
So
not just expect.
Yeah.
I think that's I think what you're saying is the result of a life of challenges, which has made you kind of wise and stronger and adaptive. Having a good work ethic, which I would throw in there, being proactive.
Yeah.
It kind of falls in line with that whole time management, but it's being proactive, working on stuff when even when you feel like there's nothing to do, there's always something that you can find to do, and then just understanding that this chaos, this unpredictability, all that stuff, it is the way it is.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you want to expect it. It's that uncertainty that it's almost like we can learn to thrive in some ways because great things come out of it. Yeah. I love all that, man. That's great. So super adaptive and resourceful, I can tell, right? What's the day for you now? You get up, what time you get up, you get coffee, you go work out.
So I get up 5 a.m. I have switched from the traditional pre-workout to a shot of espresso.
Pre-workout used to be what?
Pre-workout, I was using
Weren't we joking about it exploding and stuff in there?
Yeah, so I used those very early on in life. I kind of looked for different quality as I got older. I would say I've kind of gotten a little snobbish over the years with many things in my life. I just, I'm just like, you know what? I got to the point where I'm like, if I'm going to pay for something, like, I'm going to pay for something good. That's quality. So I was using a company of a friend that I know of that's, natural ingredients, all that stuff. And don't get me wrong, I loved it. Face tingle's amazing. But there was something with it that was just like, you know what, like I don't feel like drinking that much, like, and sometimes I was getting way too jittery, like it was too much caffeine. I'm just like, I just need something that kind of just like wake me up. I don't really need to be like cracked out.
It's like some other things in life. It's like it's good, but you can't do it forever.
Oh, for sure.
There's going to be some kind of a trade-off.
For sure. So it's straight espresso now.
Nice, I love that.
Like first thing in the morning, I got a little cup or a little espresso cup that says Rise and Grind. And so I do that, get ready to come here at 6 a.m. class. Home.
How you liking that? How you liking the
Love
6
it, man.
class?
Love it. We're all about business in the 6 a.m. And so I'm told. So good group of people that are coming in. Like I said, there's never a boring day or workout here.
Yeah, laid out for you, man.
So
you just show
up. There's no way you can get bored at all. So
and over time, you're just gonna be fit.
Yeah.
Super capable.
Yeah. So and obviously, I'll spend a little extra time some days stretching, rolling out. It's because if I'm feeling tight and stuff. And I normally go home, breakfast, coffee, shower.
What you have for breakfast?
Dude, I love eggs and sausage or bacon.
Cool.
So
I'm back on eggs, man. I went through my egg phase and then got off of it. Now I'm back on eggs. Man. We're loving omelets right now.
We talked about eliminating that as one of the things. And
one day.
I was just like, I don't know if I can do it. Like that's a staple in my life right now. So then depending on the day, I'm either working from home and watching kids at the same time, or I'm in the office, or occasionally I'm traveling for work. So,
cool.
Then I have my off days, and I've got some stuff at home, equipment at home, and lots of stretching. We talked about I've had numerous previous injuries, and so I need to maintain that so it doesn't get worse. I had a period in time where I didn't pay attention to it, and it crept up on me. There's nothing like having an injury so bad where you have to have somebody else help you get dressed and get on and off the toilet and shower, and so those moments will teach you to want to really take care of yourself.
Yeah.
So just that weekends are chill. Like
eat again later in the day, or what?
Depending on the day. So that's the nice thing. Like I become really flexible with when I can eat and when I need to eat. So if I need to skip breakfast, it's no big deal. If I need to skip lunch, it's no big deal.
I love it.
If I go to bed without eating dinner, it's no big deal. So
you got a sweet tooth or anything?
I have sugar addiction and chocolate addiction specifically, like a 16-year-old girl.
Are you doing pretty good with it in this? Or
yeah. So like I have my wife didn't even know about it. I have a stash of like sugar-free chocolate chips that I'll get like 2 tablespoons of, if I need to like get it. I cut out dairy Sunday, so I'm not doing it. So I haven't touched them.
Nice.
But I'm jonesing.
Yeah. Is it the Lily's little chips?
No. I think they're just the Whole Foods brand.
Oh yeah, because they have some that are identical too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's hard. Like I got kids in my house, and like they don't eat the same I do. I think what makes it easy, I've been gluten-free for like almost 6 years now. So there's a lot of stuff. Gluten's in everything. Yeah. So that has helped make it easy, but there's a lot of quote-unquote healthy stuff that is like not actually healthy. That is just like I'll get down on if I allow myself to.
Yeah. That's
sure.
I always admire that with families, adults that have people now they eat different ways, and then you're trying to stay away from it.
Yeah.
That's got to be freaking challenging.
Yeah.
So, what made you go gluten free? Did you have?
So that was right before my first kid was born. Right in that period where I was really experimenting with eating certain ways. Right. So I started that year. For some reason, I started like breaking out all over my body. Like all over the place. I was getting it on my arms, my legs, like my chest, stomach, sides, like crazy. I was like, what is doing this? And like I started eliminating stuff. Like I changed my deodorant, I changed my shampoo, I changed my body wash, all these things. I'm like, okay, that's not doing it.
Funny, that's the first thing we go to a lot of times.
Because it's our skin stuff. Yeah. So like, and then I'm just like, growing up. So I will say, we gave my mom so much crap growing up. Like, I didn't grow up drinking milk in my house. Like, we didn't have soda in my house. We didn't have cereal in my house. Like, she didn't buy it. We gave her crap, and then now she gives us crap because, like, now we're all, like, doing something that is helping us make us really healthy. And so, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna cut some stuff out and see what happens. So I cut out sugar, flour, and dairy. And it started clearing up. So I'm like, okay. So it's one of these three. Then I'm just like, okay, like, let's put some dairy back in. So I added dairy back in, and it didn't happen, right? Brought sugar in, and I noticed a difference in my skin. And, like, I deal with some eczema stuff on my legs now, and I definitely know sugar is like the largest contributing factor for me for it, because I can tell when I eat a ton of sugar, I break out in eczema. But that wasn't it. It wasn't the same as what I was breaking out in. Like it was bad. Yeah. And then I started adding wheat flour back in. Boom.
And that was it.
Like that, and that was it.
Yeah.
And so my wife's like, you want to go get a food allergy? I was like, no. Like I know. Like this is it. Like. I can tell, like, because I was having GI issues along with it. And so as soon as I cut it out, skin cleared up.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
And that's exactly everything that we were talking about this last meeting, really. So you came and found us, how long ago was it? Was it a few months ago or first of the year?
No, it was first of the year, pretty much.
I
think I started, it was like January 7th or something like that.
So and you got in just in time to go through the master class. And so what's different about this, the SHT, versus what you've learned so far? What do you like about it?
Yeah, so I think, so about 6 years ago, I really got, I obviously cut gluten out, but I wanted to try some other things. So what I was doing then, and don't get me wrong, I got good results, but it just wasn't, I didn't kind of click into the next gear. I was eating really good, eating lots of leafy greens, fruits, veggies, nuts, lean proteins. But I was eating pretty often throughout the day. So it was one of those things like I ate breakfast and then I prepped all my stuff to take to work with me. And I had all my healthy snacks, and then I would eat my lunch, and then I would have more snacks, and then snack some more, and then I would come home and then eat dinner. And then I would just all start over again. And don't get me wrong, like I lost, some body fat, and my cardio got better. I got better. Good. Like compared to the majority of Americans, like that's really healthy.
Yeah.
But it just like wasn't.
Felt like something was missing.
I feel like I plateaued. I plateaued as far as the performance and stuff. It all got better, but it just didn't. It didn't click to that next level that I was expecting. So anyway, since then, I've done. I tried the vegan thing a couple times. I've done keto. Paleo, I didn't really get too much in. Just kind of skipped that, went straight to keto. So I had played with all this stuff coming into it. So I had a good idea of what they all do for me and what's different, how certain things affect me. So I got really in tune with how my body feels with what I give it. And so coming into this, I was like, oh man, like that's a lot of meat, man. Like we're gonna eat that much. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. Reducing the amount of safe starches and carbs a day. I was like, oh man, I love my carbs.
I was going to say the way you were doing is probably better, but I imagine you had way more carbs.
Oh,
You're eating
for
more often.
sure. Yeah, for sure. And so I was like, okay, like, you know what, like, I'm gonna do this. I'll just go buy it, and like, we'll see what happens. It was easy for me as far as like meal prepping and planning out meals because I already do that. It's super simple. I was already in the habit of it, and so that was really easy planning all that stuff out. You know, I already know certain things I can't eat that I just don't do well with, so I had already eliminated things out of my diet. Then I got into it, and the first, I think 2 to 3 weeks were a little rough. And I think I remember texting you and be like, oh man, I'm crashing at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon every day on the dot. Like, I was like, oh, give it a little bit more time. So I gave it more time, continued on the program, and then one day that all stopped. And then I started feeling really good. So different, and then I watched body composition changes happening that were like crazy. You know, I've shown you the pictures. Within like 30 days, it was like a drastic difference. And then I started playing with being super flexible metabolically, and like, I'm not, if I don't like eat all day and we get to dinner time and I'm planning on eating, I'm not like, oh my gosh, I need to eat on something, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm just like, you know, like dinner will be ready in an hour as I'm cooking it. It's super cool.
You don't have the physical like craving for food, like a low blood sugar thing, but you also don't have the mental, emotional feeling that you're supposed to eat all the time. Like you were saying before, you're very, if I get home, I don't feel like eating lunch, I'm going to eat lunch, right?
Like I didn't eat lunch today.
What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, you know, don't get me wrong, like I think week 3 and 4, I'd be sitting there cooking a steak in a skillet and I'm salivating.
Oh yeah.
You know, because I was in that mode of like, oh my gosh, I'm about to eat, and
that's the way it's supposed to be. I think it's like you go through some space, and then you get ready for food, and you start to salivate. Your digestive juices start to flow. You get excited about it, and then you eat, and it's great, and it's glorious, and then you give it some space again.
So then now it's It's a little different, and I've been trying this just because it became such a job to, I wouldn't say like plan out my meals, but so now I know the things I like now. And by the way, like fruit bar is a staple in my house now. Like I went and bought it, like that's why I was at the store yesterday, because I ran out of every berry. And so
if you don't know what fruit bar is, it's on our website.
Yeah, check it out because and it will become a staple in your house as well. Yeah, everybody. Everybody loves it. I'm missing my heavy cream on it right now, which stinks, but it's okay.
And you just started that Sunday?
Just started that Sunday, so no dairy.
2 weeks?
I'll go like 2 weeks. I was initially was like,
even just a little bit if you notice something. Do you notice anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
That
sucks.
So yeah, it does. So now, you know, I buy all my meat I like, all my cuts I like. I know what food I like. I know what my wife's going to eat, what she's not going to eat.
You found your staples.
I found my staples. Same thing with my veggies, my safe starches, all that stuff. So I have all of the little containers, the food prep containers, and there's one day a week where I'll spend through, 2 or 3 hours chopping. So now I can come home and be like, all right, well, I'm just going to have steak for dinner, and I'm going to roast some vegetables, put them in a bowl, olive oil, salt, pepper, throw them in the oven, 30 minutes, boom, steak's done, eat, and I'm finished. So I have made it really easy to, same thing too, if like I noticed when I had things planned, then I would have things in the day-to-day in my normal life change that affected what I was going to be eating. So I'm just like, I had a backup meal planned, and so I got really flexible with it to the point where I didn't have to go off my sheet. And I don't recommend this with everybody. It's just like I had some things to help me already and some practices that helped me already. Now it's like, hey, I have some options in the fridge that are ready to go. I have a ribeye. I've got some, bison meat. I've got some ribs. The ribs are, those are going to take hours to cook, so those are out. And I'm like, cool. Well, I have this veggie, and the starch is prepared already. I'm going to grab a steak, cook it all together, eat dinner. So I became super flexible with being able to be flexible with my meals, I guess you could say.
Yeah, sounds like a modular food prep system. You've got stuff that's ready to go. You got some stuff that takes a day to cook, and just depending on where you're at with things.
So, and then obviously, when I'm here and I have kind of more strenuous workouts in the morning, or we're doing heavy lifting of weights, I normally try and pack in some more animal protein than I normally do.
Just makes you feel better intuitively.
Yeah, for sure. I noticed, about 6 years ago when I was doing it, I noticed the more animal protein I ate after I had those really heavy days, the less and less sore I was. And so, and even now I'll have certain days where I'm just like, I'm going to go animal protein only for a day or two and see what happens. And so, it's, steak and eggs for breakfast, and, chicken drumlets for lunch, and then some ribs for dinner. And I don't know who's going to complain about that, because you're like eating like royalty. So, being able to play around with stuff and be super flexible like that, and it doesn't really affect me, is probably one of the best things that I've gotten out of it.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And just FYI, so Thomas is doing the no dairy because we talked about at our last meeting, just having this mindset of always experimenting, always going without something just to see how it makes you feel. Sometimes it's unfortunate because you find out something that you take out actually makes you feel better that you loved.
Yeah.
So, and I'm really proud of you for being in that mode. And it sounds like you were kind of doing that anyway, but now you've gotten to a point to where it's like this is very freeing and liberating.
Yeah.
And I want to touch on the training thing too. I love that you intuitively kind of picked up on. It's like you don't force anything, but your training kind of dictates your appetite. Yeah. And your training, like, it's a lot of people ask, actually we just had a question in the group about like, so now I'm starting to lift a little bit more. Do I need to change my eating? Do I need to eat more often? Do the snacks and all? And what I want for people is exactly what you're experiencing, which is you've got this foundational knowledge, experiential knowledge that's treating you really well. And then within that, you're just kind of paying attention to what feels right and learning how to gravitate towards your staples, make things flexible and adaptive, and not be so rigid with things. I love that. I love to hear that. That's what we want for everyone going through something like this. Dude, that's great, man. It's good stuff to hear. Any learning points from what you've learned so far? Someone's listening to this. If we were trying to give them some tips, some hints, some strategies.
I will say,
encouragement.
For me, if you're, you listen to this and it sounds like it's really easy what I did, but I also had some foundation coming into it that made it easy.
Yeah.
It's difficult. There's discipline involved, especially if you're like me and you're watching your kid eat a Reese's cup in front of you and it's your favorite candy. Like, what is going to stop you from going over to the bag and grabbing one for yourself?
Yeah.
So the discipline it's been good. I've enforced it more this time around than any time before. I do give myself, my wife's birthday is on Valentine's Day, and so we went ham on Valentine's Day, and I think I was 5 weeks into the program, so I was like, it's okay, like, I'm gonna splurge for 24 hours. Did I regret it? Yeah. But I got it out of my system, and it was one of those things where, I ate so much crap it made me feel sick. It made me want to eat healthy again. And I don't, granted, do I want to have that stuff? Yes, the desire is there. But I think the ability to be able to say no is a huge thing.
Yeah.
We live in a world of fast-paced convenience. And being able to eat real food and have it planned out for your meals and being able to be flexible is awesome. Like, I tell everybody, I was like, the metabolic flexibility that I have now is like one of my favorite things, because it used to be one of those things where I would skip a meal and I'm like, dude, I am dying. Like, if I don't go to 7-Eleven and grab a Snickers bar, like, I'm going to turn into a diva.
Yeah.
So there's that. So like, being able to understand like it's okay. If you do, it's fine. I had a conversation with my brother. We found this place that has like keto fresh made donuts, and he's doing keto right now, and he's like, yeah, I'd be interested to see the the net carbs on it, all the nutritional factors. I was like, you know what? I was like, I think if you're on point like 98% of the time, and you eat something like that, it's okay. Yeah, you're gonna be okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say something about that. Like we're having more of an attitude of that. It's like, and it's a slippery slope for some people. But I do love that you allow yourself to indulge here and there, and then you get the feedback because your body's so freaking clean from what you've been doing that it's almost like you're like, okay, well now I remember why I don't do that. Yeah. But then at the same time, when you do it, you're not hard on yourself. You're just like you enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good balance. It's a good way to approach it.
Yeah. And I feel like I don't even like calling them diets, because I think we have this word around diets of like, oh man, you can't have anything, can you, because you're on a diet. And I'm like, no, it's not necessarily true. Like, I'm considering it more of a lifestyle than it is a diet, because I love it and enjoy it. I love the results I'm getting out of it. Like,
it's a way of life.
It's
a very flexible way of life.
Anyone that looks at what we do eat and says they're like, oh man, you eat that, is crazy. Because when I first got started in it and I showed my wife like first week's menu, she's like, oh wow. I was like, yeah, we're eating like royalty. Like thousands of years ago, you were a king if you were eating like this. Like, there is nothing wrong with this. Yeah. So, and
it's a thankful perspective.
Yeah. And so like, look at it as not a diet, and that you're being punished food-wise for your decisions, but more of choosing it as a lifestyle. And I'll tell you, like, the benefits of it are just insane. Yeah. Body composition hasn't been like this since 15 years probably, and the strength is all there. I have things doing as far as recovery that are helping me. I'm more in tune with my body than I ever have been, as far as my body giving me feedback to what I'm giving it. But it's,
and the freedom and flexibility, like the intangibles, like you were saying, just knowing that you don't have to eat if you don't want to, and that you can eat more of this if you feel like it, and the metabolic flexibility and consistent energy levels, not being ruled by food and feeling like you have to eat to freaking pick yourself up, Yeah, I love all that, man. It's so good. What's your plans for the future? What you gonna do to keep moving forward with it all? You keep coming to our class?
I'm gonna continue to do this in the gym and in the kitchen.
Yeah, you're doing great in the gym, man.
I've gotten to really enjoy it in the kitchen. If you actually step foot into my kitchen, I have a row of fresh herbs growing there.
I love it.
So I got fresh parsley, I have fresh mint, multiple kinds of basil, I've got cilantro growing, and so I'm having tons of fun playing with flavors. And so I've cranked out some really good tasting food.
Where do you get your recipes or inspiration? You just make it up or what?
There are basic things. I learned the basics from Netflix, believe it or not. There was a show called, I forget what it was called, but it focuses on the 4 things in food that give it flavor. And you have your fat, heat, your salt, and...
Sweet. What?
Was it sweet?
And then unami is one too, right? Or something
there's 4 things that you want to have in there. Oh, it's acid, salt, fat, and I've already mentioned it. Heat. So like olive oil for your fat, pepper flakes for your heat, your salt, and then you have how many times did I just say this and I can't think of my 4th one. But anyway, you put it all together and it makes it. And so as long as I stay by that and I understand what foods are what, you can make an amazing tasting meal with it. Yeah. And use seasonings, whatever it is. I love using lamb, and I have fresh parsley in my, in my kitchen, and basil and things to make something like it tastes Mediterranean. So just playing around. Obviously, like not all my meals were good, but I enjoy that, and it's going to be a continued thing I do, in the kitchen. And I tell a lot of people, I'm like, hey, like 80% of this is done in the kitchen. And coming in here, I just want to continue to progress. Fitness wise, I've progressed in the couple of months I've been here, and I just want to continue to get stronger, get better and better in cardio. I have a love-hate relationship with multiple things inside the gym, but I come in and do it. One of them being the air bike. And I think everybody's been through that. I tried the ski erg today, and it was actually really enjoyable, so we might become friends.
Compared to the bike,
yeah,
sure.
We discussed it when talking about sales, but like I'm okay with the punishment. And so
the reward is there.
Yeah,
like you're seeing the benefit.
Yeah, so like there's nights where I log on and I look at the workout for the morning, I'm like, oh man, that's gonna suck. But I still show up because, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna show up and grind away at this, and the results so far have been amazing, and I'm just gonna continue to do it.
Yeah. Just like everything in your life, you keep showing up, have a good work ethic with it, and the results
good attitude about it. Yeah. So
cool. Awesome, man. Well, thank you for coming on and just sharing your story. That's a really, really inspiring story of a young guy that grew up really fast and learned to be very flexible and adaptive. And, you have your own wisdom that you come into this with, figuring out your skin issues. That's kind of how I figured some things out initially, too, just triggered by some symptoms. And then even coming into this, you're still learning and evolving. And I think a lot of people are going to take some great stuff away from that. So thank you so much for sharing that. And so again, Thomas, and look forward to seeing what life has to bring from you in the future, and we'll be in touch, I'm sure. Yeah. And anything else we need to end with on that?
That's it, man. I think my biggest takeaway, I have a quote I see on my way out the door every day, and those inspirational things, and one of the biggest thing is kindness and creating joy wherever you go. With as much as is going on right now, trying to remember to do that, even if it's small things. We can't really see each other when we smile at each other anymore, but waving hi to strangers, opening doors for them, the little things. Remember that. That'll be my send off.
I love it. All right, man. Cool. Good visiting with you.
Yeah, man.
We'll talk to you soon. Word up.